I'm Carla Mauldin, and I am almost 71 years old, and I've been dealing with chronic back pain all my life. I was 9 years old when this particular injury started. I was out in the pasture catching the horse with my father and had the rope around its neck, and the dog came up and snipped at her heels, and she took off. And I thought I could be like my dad and just hunker down and pull the rope in and hold her. Instead, it flipped me up in the air and slammed me into an upright railroad tie that was used as a post and knocked me unconscious. It didn't break anything, but that started chronic pain after that. Growing up on a ranch, I had numerous accidents. I think I led with my head. I think I've had 5 concussions, numerous back injuries, knees, what have you. But along the way, I think I've tried probably every kind of treatment that's been out there, short of surgery. And they talked about surgery any number of times throughout my life. It would get better, it would get worse, but I never let it interfere with my life. I skied, snow skied, water skied, horseback rode, was very active, and worked full-time as a teacher and a school administrator, and had kids, so I go full bore. Picked up a doctorate along the way while working full-time, so I don't know how to slow down, and I couldn't let a thing like back pain stop me. About maybe 8 years ago, it became very severe, to the point that I would just take my breath away. I couldn't walk more than 100 feet without sitting and waiting for 10 minutes for it to loosen up again. So at that point, I did spinal decompression, had a wonderful chiropractor I worked with, lost the weight that I had gained. I've done that too, up and down, and got much better. And I had about 3 years where that was really wonderful. Then it started back up again. And at that point I decided, well, let's go with the chiropractor, or with the physical therapy and orthopedic doctor. And that helped, using the physical therapy and all of the kind of things. So continued on. We made a move from Pasadena to Orange County when we retired. And that moving and lifting boxes and all of that, because I can't stand by and let other people do those things. I did have help, but I have to pitch in. That just really put me over the top. And the pain became much worse. And they were talking surgery. We'd done the epidurals, we'd done the physical therapy, name it, I have done it. I've hung from my heels, I've tried it all. And I just didn't want to do back surgery. I didn't know anyone that hadn't had more than one. And I just, anything but. So I started doing water aerobics, and that helped a lot. I had it probably about a year with physical therapy, epidural, and the water aerobics, that I was pretty close to free from pain. And about a year, a little over a year ago, it started back up again with the pain. And it just became unbelievable. We went on a cruise, and I'd had the epidural before we went. On the cruise, I had massages, I tried acupuncture, and it really limited what we could do. We were in the Caribbean, and all we did was get off the ship, catch a cab, and have them drive us around the islands. No water sports, nothing, because I was in too much pain. And that just isn't a way of living. So I asked my doctor, the pain specialist I was working with, I said, okay, I think it's time. And he had me do an x-ray, and he could see that my vertebrae were on top of each other. So he recommended Dr. Ozgur, and we came in, and my daughter was with me, and it was Halloween. So he was in costume. Immediately I loved him. I was a kindergarten teacher to start life, so I just fell in love with him the minute I walked through the door. There he is in his striped shirt, looking so buff. And so we were talking, and one of my passions is tango dancing, and I love wearing high heels. So I asked him after this surgery, and he was explaining it to me, would I be able to dance again, and could I wear my high heels? And he said, absolutely. I jumped out of my seat and ran across to where he was sitting and hugged him, and I said, I'm in love. Schedule the surgery now. So we did. We scheduled it as soon as possible. And what a relief to know that that was going to happen. And the idea of how minimally invasive it was going to be, and that I wasn't going to have rods and lots of extra hardware in, and that I would be able to get back to my life the way I loved it. Just really, I felt immediately safe and knew that it was the right decision. I had managed to wait long enough for his skills to come into my life and to help me with it. 2 weeks before the surgery was scheduled, I went downstairs to feed the dog, and about 60% of the time I'll start my bath upstairs, and there's just enough time to feed the dog and then go back upstairs, and then the tub is full. Well, I thought, did I turn the tub on this morning or didn't I? And I couldn't remember turning it on, and I was in so much pain, I decided I had not turned it on. So I ate breakfast and then went upstairs to a cascade of water flowing over the tub into the bedroom, coming down through the ceiling onto my grand piano and Persian carpet. So we ended up having to tear our house apart, and the steam cleaners came in and dried everything out, and a major remodel. Now, I gotta tell you, it's a great way to recover, because we had to go to a hotel, so no longer any stairs. The bathroom was cleaned, my bed was made, the dishes were done. It was great, but I would not recommend doing that, but it did turn out well for us with our physical living condition. By the time I left the hospital, I knew that my husband wasn't up to taking care of me immediately, especially with a torn up house. I went to rehab for 10 days. And by the end of the 10 days, I was running around and helping other people. I recovered so quickly. It was just amazing. The pain in my back was gone immediately. I had discomfort from the incision. I had quite a bit of discomfort from the nerve damage that had been done in my left leg. But the pain that I was dealing with from the spine smashing on itself was completely gone immediately. And I haven't had any of that pain since then. I was totally amazed. I expected to have lingering discomfort, and it was totally gone. I was able to get off the pain meds fairly rapidly. I don't like pain meds. They make me crazy and nuts and disconnected, so I was able to wean off those fairly soon. By the time I left rehab, I was down to minimal. And within another week, I was off completely, except for the nerve medicine. That was November 19th, we had the surgery. This is March 4th, so about a 4-month period of time. This is the second time I've had my high heels on, and they're perfectly comfortable. I don't think I'm quite ready to do tango dancing, just because with the lack of movement for the last almost a year, my back and hips are a little on the tight side, so we need a little more physical therapy before I'm ready for the dancing. But you know, I'm in love with the man, with the surgery, and with doing it. I highly recommend it.